Hello YouTube, today we're gonna be taking this Garcia Ambassador 5500C3 apart, and it's winter time, so it's time for me to do some real maintenance and stuff like that. So okay, let's get started. Basically you need some tools. I have this tool right here, and brush to brush off the corrosion, and also to clean up the old grease on it, and another brush to apply the grease, and also some synthetic oil. Okay, let's get started. First, I need to take the line back on the spool, and we're gonna resync this part, the level 1, later, so you don't need to worry about that right now. Get the tool out. Bit is the one I wanted. I don't know if you can see, there's some sand in there, so we're gonna be cleaning that later. Okay, find the right socket. Okay. And we'll be taking this nut off. Okay, and the newer version of this reel doesn't have a screw like this. Instead of this screw, the newer version of this reel has a C-clip. But this is an older version. But internal is very identical. And I've actually modified this reel. This reel, when it came to me, it doesn't have a instant anti-reverse bearing. So instead of that, it has a dog system, and you will see that later on. And you can tell pretty much just by looking at the serial number on these reels. And this one is 990503. So anything start with 99, it all still have the old dog system instead of anti-reverse bearing. But you can modify the reel to have an anti-reverse bearing. So we're gonna take the clutch plate off. I'm about to see how bad the corrosion is. I've actually dunked this reel a couple of times. Looks not bad. Not bad. But in here you have your centrifugal braking system. And the brake pads seems in nice shape. And then you take the spool off. We're probably going to clean up the bearing inside the spool later. Let me check. Oh, it looks fine. And then you have your frame, and we're gonna take apart this part later. But it looks like fine. Looks like pretty clean there. I don't see any salt deposit or anything, and the grease looks okay. So taking the shaft off, and we'll be open up this thing, and there's a little salt deposit. There's a little salt deposit here. Anyway, let's open it up. You can use a flat screwdriver. Okay, make sure the put the spring washer aside, and also the sleeve for the crankshaft. It doesn't look bad at all. There's no corrosion inside. Yeah, all the grease are still there, and this is an old dog system. This is old dog system, but when the reel came to me, it doesn't have this part. It doesn't have this anti-reverse bearing inside, and I've actually got this part from eBay, and I installed this part myself. So, and I'll put a link down in the description, so you guys can, if you're interested, doing some mod to your older reel, you can do that. It's really simple. So let's grab some napkins. Wipe off the excess grease. We're probably going to put a little bit new grease on it, but the purpose of putting grease inside the cover is just to prevent surface rust, because you're dealing with salt water. And there's a little rust over here. I'll be cleaning that later. Overall, it looks fine to me. There's no corrosion on the clutch plate, but yeah, let's clean this a little bit to get the sand out of there. Yeah, looks clean, pretty clean to me. Consider I've dunked this reel a couple of times, mainly just to wash the sand out of the worm gear, and this is the part we're gonna get into later. But, I don't know if you can see the sand. I don't know if you can see the sand, but there's a little bit of sand in there, so. Yeah, this part is clean. I'm going to apply a little more of the grease and oil later. Oil that part. Like I said, adding oil, grease to the surface is just really just to prevent surface rust. You know, you can add an oil on it as well. So yeah. Looks like there's a little salt deposit on the frame, so we're gonna take the frame apart. I mean, these reels are really easy to work on, but obviously it's a little bit more complicated than spinning reels. anyway. Take these apart, screws, and I saw some salt deposit already, so I'll be washing this part. And I wanted to see how bad is the worm gear is, but it should be probably okay there. Anyway. Yeah, the inside looks okay, but definitely some salt deposit over here, or maybe sand. So let's take a look at the worm gear. It's the level 1 mechanism. So yeah, let's take this. Yeah, the thumb rest. Take it off, and there's a little metal piece here, and just lift it like so, and you can't get into the worm gear. Oh, need to unscrew this part first. Usually when you're on the beach, the worm gear is the part that prone to problem, because once sand gets into the worm gear, and the little paw right here, and your reel is gonna seize. But to clean off the sand, you don't crank it, like trying to grind the sand out of it. Instead, you can use water, or just dunk the reel into clean water, and just to rinse it off. And one trick I learned from my friend is not to put any grease on the worm gear or inside the tube, that the worm gear housing. You don't do that, because once the sand gets in there and it got stuck, and the grease is only gonna make things worse. You can use regular engine oil, I think 30 weight, or the pen reel, the synthetic reel oil, and just put a drop or two inside, and as soon as it dries, it'll protect the surface anyway. So yeah, that's pretty much it. It's very simple, taking apart, and we don't need to clean this part, the clutch plate, assembly. It looks fine. So, and let me check the drag. The drag looks fine, and yeah, that's it. We'll be just cleaning the frame and the left cover on this reel. So yep. Okay, and we'll come back after cleaning. We'll come back and I'll show you guys how to put everything back together. It's really simple.